Ni hao, or hello in Chinese, and welcome to Musical Sprouts and the Great China Excursion. My name is Yaping, and I will be your guide on this journey. It's great to have you back for Lesson 3. In the last lesson, we learned about the rivers of China. Do you remember any facts about the Yellow River? I remember that the Yellow River has the world's largest yellow waterfall. They call it Hukou, which means cattle mouth. The riverbed there has eroded into a sprout like a giant teapot, and the rushing yellow water pours out. From ancient times, the Yellow River was a main highway for transportation purposes because it was so much quicker than traveling on land. Long before there were bridges or boats, the Chinese crossed the river on rafts. The rafts were usually made from specially treated pigskin or sheepskin that were inflated and then tied together. About 9 to 12 skins were used on each raft, and the raft would carry no more than 4 or 5 people. Rafts like this are still used today in Ningxia, Gansu, and Qinghai provinces. To cross the river, they used pontons that were tied together, thus creating a floating bridge. These floating bridges were used for over 500 years, though crossing this way was not ideal because flooding often washed the pontons away. While there are lots of bridges crossing the Yellow River, there's one in particular that is most famous, the Zhongshan Bridge. But in 1909, it's called the first bridge over the Yellow River, and it lies at the foot of Baita Mountain and in front of Jingchen Pass in Lanzhou City, the capital of Gansu Province. Do you think it's possible to make a boat that floats on water and would get you across the Yellow River? How about if I ask you to make a boat out of clay? And then asked you to add weight to the boat? I know you can do it. How do I know? I know because you will use the engineering design process to help you create a boat that floats. I know you must be wondering what's the engineering design process, right? Have you ever heard of the scientific method? I thought so. The engineering design process is a little bit like the scientific method. It helps us solve a problem. I'll break it down for you. First, we must define our problem. For us today, we need to figure out how to make a boat that floats and will hold added weight. Next, we must identify the things that might cause a problem for us. Do I have enough time to build my boat? What materials are needed? What does my teacher expect my boat to look like? When I'm not sure which way is best, I often brainstorm my ideas. Do you ever brainstorm? Brainstorming means coming up with multiple ideas to solve a problem. The next step of the engineering design process is choosing or selecting the best option that you came up with during your brainstorming session. Once you have made a decision on the best option, it's time to build a prototype. Wait a second, what's a prototype? Yes, a prototype is a first attempt or try, kind of like the first draft of an essay. I love the next step. It's definitely my favorite. Testing my prototype. Will my boat float? Did my design work? Maybe yours will float on the first attempt, but maybe not. Don't worry, that's what the next step of the engineering design process is for. It's called iterate. All that means is going back to the drawing board and try it again. Maybe it means redesigning your boat, and that's okay. The final step in the engineering design process is communicating your solution. What did you do that worked? Today, your teacher will give you a small amount of modeling clay to make a boat that floats in a tub of water. The object is to build a boat that holds as much weight as possible without sinking. Your teacher will give you a half stick of modeling clay. After you design and shape your boat, you can try it out in one of the tubs of water you will see around your classroom. You can test your boat as often as you like, but make sure you pat the clay dry after your test in the water. Otherwise, it will be hard to redesign. When you successfully complete the first phase of our challenge, you will place metal washers or weights in your boat. Imagine that you're carrying people across the Yellow River. How much weight can you safely add and not sink your boat? Continue making improvements. And each time your boat sinks, try it again. Whose boat holds the most weight? How's their design different from yours? Did your boat design change throughout the activities? These are just some of the questions you'll have answers to after today's activity, and you will know all about the engineering design process. I can't wait to see the boats you create. Make sure to ask your teacher to take pictures of your boat and share them with the musical sprouts. I've got to go. I have so much to do before next week's lesson. As you build your boat, I will be creating your travel passports for the next activity. I sure hope your boat floats. See you soon. 再见。